Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to Cosmic Culture, the channel where we talk all things major movie and television news, theories, breakdowns, and much more. I'm your host Chris, and the MCU has been so exciting. So many different projects, and just most recently we had episode 5 of 6 of Moon Knight last night, the finale next week, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is dropping next week, then shortly to be followed by Thor, Love and Thunder, and Ms. Marvel, a new Disney Plus series. So much is coming our way. However, we have an update coming directly from Kevin Feige that he and the creative team headed to a retreat to talk about the next 10 years of those MCU projects that they have looming in the horizon and how to connect everything to give us the amazing cinematic universe we have had since Iron Man, since Hulk, since the early days of Marvel, the stuff that has gotten us so excited for the future of Marvel. So we're going to discuss exactly what he says and what those details mean for us. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our daily uploads. You can also check me out on my other socials, Instagram at Chris M. Rosser and Twitter at The Culture Chris. Now, I just want to preface the rest of this video by saying that this is an amazing update, and it's really cool that Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel Studios, is able to just reach out to all of us as fans and give us these updates where he talks about the coming years, the next 10 years of Marvel and what the plan is. He says specifically during an interview with The Hollywood Reporter at CinemaCon, and he's informed us that for the first time in 3 years, the first in-person Marvel Creative Retreat has happened. It's taken place, and this particular retreat included a giant board and details for the next decade of Marvel films. That's right, the next 10 years. Saying specifically, that board takes us through the next decade, and those films are unique and special, and they are meant for your theaters. So we have a ton of movies that will be the backbone of the MCU coming for us for the next 10 years. He continues to say that the Spider-Man No Way Home box office numbers have completely restored the MCU's potential for creating huge movies and having them do well in the theaters post-COVID, which is also what has stopped these massive retreats that have happened in person with this big board where they go through and highlight and create the future of the MCU together. This same COVID that you're all very familiar with has been inhibiting people from going to theaters and from feeling comfortable to go to theaters and stopping big companies like Disney from being able to release movies with confidence. So he says, are we back? Yes, I know we're back. And then the icing on the cake, telling us what the direction we're heading in for the next 10 years, saying in the next 10 years with existing characters and new characters and new storytelling tools with the multiverse, anything can happen. So major tease for us for the next 10 years. Now let's talk about what we know about Marvel and their current track, what their plan is. We've seen a good chunk of Phase 4, which has kind of floated and changed. There have been several reshoots. All of this has been happening to get us to where we are now. Where are we going? Well, we know Marvel has over 45 different projects currently in development. Some of them have been announced, some of them have trailers like Thor Love and Thunder, even Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which is about to come out. There are others that we have titles for, but no other information. We know Fantastic Four is coming. We know we're getting an Ironheart series, an Armor War series. All of these are happening. They're in development. Then you have some that are a little closer, like She-Hulk, I Am Groot, the Werewolf by Night series. Lots of stuff going on there, but then a ton of other projects that haven't been announced. So we know that there's a lot of content coming our way for the next 10 years, but something I think we've been lacking as a fan base, at least understanding, is what is the direction? Where are we going? Kevin Feige touched several years back now that the MCU will be heading into 2 separate directions. It's going to have a cosmic side and it's going to have an earthbound side. But even those lines are very thin, as where does cosmic tyranny and earthbound issues really cross? Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Hawkeye were very earthbound, original feeling series that gave us that OG feeling of a project. But then you have things like Loki and WandaVision and even Spider-Man No Way Home that are just so far out there, but I wouldn't necessarily call them cosmic either. They're not happening in space. Even the Eternals, which is literally about, Eternals and cosmic beings, that was all happening on Earth. It did set up a future in space, and Thor Love and Thunder is going to do the same as it's introduced gods, but the line hasn't been very clear. We don't necessarily know what Kevin Feige meant by that. Well, today he throws a wrench in all of that by saying, yeah, we're going to be talking about old characters, we're going to be talking about new characters, and of course we have the multiverse. which, one, tells me the multiverse isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness does not put a cap on the multiverse, which I think most of us have already assumed, but it will be expanding what we know and the possible uses of the multiverse moving forward. Anything is possible, so whatever your wildest fan theories are, they are options moving forward for the next 10 years. What else did we learn? Well, the fact that they have gotten together now and they have talked about the next 10 years with a big board, getting the crazy strings out and drawing lines and arrows and markers and really trying to figure it out, means that everything they've done up to this point, of course, can change. There was no necessarily direct area where they wanted to go, and we've seen changes in movies. We've seen Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness go from being the simple sequel that it was going to be and turning into this massive, pivoting Avengers-level movie that's going to have a lot of weight for the future of the MCU on it. And there's been a lot of changes from, oh, Nightmare's going to be the villain, to, hey, let's open up the multiverse and the Scarlet Witch is just going to kill everybody. And these same changes that have introduced different characters and different thoughts and directions and opened up doors to the MCU that haven't received answers yet, they are all crescendoing into a magnificent wave that hopefully will come crashing down on us as fans and allow us to enjoy something new with Marvel. And that, I think, will be the essence of the next 10 years. What's new with Marvel? We had the Infinity Saga. We had Avengers Endgame, that big moment where we got the snap and the sacrifice and Steve Rogers goes back in time to live out his life. That story has ended. Marvel now has to come up with something new to get fans kind of wondering what's happening next. I know we like the predictability of the Infinity Saga. We all kind of figured out a lot of what was coming our way. Because we weren't necessarily ready for it, it was very exciting. But now following that pattern of, oh, the big bad Thanos kind of brewing in the background for the last 10 years, that's all kind of something we're looking for now. So Marvel has to pull one over on us to keep us engaged. Because if we can sit here and predict and say, oh, this is what's going to happen, this is where we're going to go as a fan base, well, we're going to be a little bit disappointed when we're right. We want to be wrong, we want to be tested, we want to be tried, but we also want amazing quality, fantastic movies and shows that intertwine and interlock, but also have their own space and don't require you to know every single thing there is to know about Marvel in order to enjoy it. It's a big ask. We're becoming a very demanding fan base, but that's what happens when you pull something off like the Infinity Saga. So I am curious to see where they're going. It is awesome to get an update from Kevin Feige about the future of Marvel. There are tons and tons and tons of projects in the works right now, a lot that we know about and a lot that we don't know about. But I hope you're excited for the future of the MCU. It's getting big. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness just around the corner now. Next week, the finale for Moon Knight, which is going to be something pretty insane. And then tons of more projects this year, the next year, and for the next 10 years to follow. Thank you guys so much for watching to the very end of the video. If you found it helpful, useful, or interesting, consider subscribing and turning on that notification bell. And I'll catch all of you guys on the next one right here on Cosmic Culture.